Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Portfolio is currently sitting at $9,784.98. For the day, we are up 119.53 or 1.24%, and 22.15 or 0.23% overnight after hours. For the week, we are up 95.61 or about 1%. For the month, we are down 173.67 or 1.74%. For the 3-month, we are up 492.10 or 5.3%. For the year-to-date, we are barely green, $3.09, 0.03%. For the 1 year, aka the all-time, which by the way, we are coming up on the 1 year anniversary, I guess you could say, of this portfolio. Just got one more month till I turn 19, and it'll be 1 year since I started making these videos on this portfolio and when I started trading on this portfolio. So that's pretty cool. Closing in on the 1 year mark. But yeah, no, all-time. We have made $621.85, or 6.79%. Once again, still lagging compared to the S&P, hence why we're just investing in the S&P. Finally made that change a while back. But yeah, no. So this portfolio right now, trying to think of what's changed. I haven't made a video in 2 weeks, I don't think. So I think there's been a pretty sharp pullback due to the Fed. I think I covered that on my last video, actually. It might have been around here. So we've made a nice recovery since the last video, but still on the all-time chart, a little bit off those all-time highs. Not by too much though, now that I look at it, only about 170 bucks. So maybe, if we get a 2% gain in the coming weeks, we would be at a new all-time high, which is pretty great. But yeah, let's take a look at the S&P real quick. One thing to note is I did switch my S&P 500 holdings to SPLG temporarily. So maybe a week or two ago, after I made that video, I did switch all of my holdings over to SPLG, because I thought it would make like share goals feel more attainable, like kind of to make it feel like I'm building the wealth easier because the share price is lower. So it's kind of easier to look at it and say like, oh, I'm going to be able to buy 4 shares today and like, purchasing like 8 shares a month or whatever, compared to the S&P where I make my deposit and I get like 0.2 of a share every 2 weeks. So I thought that would have been a motivator for me to do. So I did do that temporarily, and I found that I actually didn't like it, and it wasn't really motivating. In fact, I think it's more motivating to build this small number up than to keep increasing a large number. And also the liquidity on SPLG is a lot lower than SPY. And on overnight trading sessions, or at least on the 24-hour Robinhood market, you get a lot of weird jagged lines and behavior that doesn't correlate. I mean, eventually it'll correlate back to the S&P no matter what, but in terms of the graph look, and I don't know if I can show you this really yet. I mean, this might have been one example. You get some very jagged lines, and it's not as fluid as the S&P is, which I do like having on my chart. So I ended up converting it back to SPY a couple days ago. And you can see our average cost is now 501, but technically I think our original average cost was 510 maybe, so I'm not really sure where we stand overall, but looking to just keep it in SPY now. But it was a good thing to try and just see if I liked it or not. But I didn't, so we're back in this. But that's why my average cost has changed and my total return has changed compared to the last video. But yeah, no, so we're now over 19 shares by just a little bit. I believe I missed one bi-weekly purchase because I had to take some money out for something else, but we'll be able to way beyond catch up and actually blow past our normal goal in the coming weeks, and especially over the summer where I'll be able to work full time. I should be able to deposit a few thousand over the course of the summer, which will smash our $100 bi-weekly goal. So missing it once is okay, just because I know I'm going to be able to really pile on in the coming weeks and months. So that's kind of our situation on that. But yeah, not much else to talk about. I believe so in terms of macro like economy right now. I believe we had a pretty hot inflation report in the past month. I'm trying to kind of think back and remember these events. Then the Fed came out and said they don't see any rate cuts, or they pushed back the rate cut like expectations with whatever they said in their speech. I think it was Jerome Powell said something about pushing back rate cuts. And then recently, this most recent sort of rally here, which I think was on Friday when this came out, was the yeah, it looks like it. Jobs report came in. Unemployment has gone up by quite a bit against expectations, it's gone much more than expectations, which obviously unemployment isn't great, but in the case we're in right now, it's good because it means the Fed will likely pivot to cutting sooner than expected. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Inflation is going back up, but employment is also going up, which is really strange and kind of unusual from what you normally learn about economics. I'm taking 2 economics classes right now, like a micro and macro class, and we've learned about like the trade-off between unemployment and inflation on a graph. And normally when you have more inflation, you have less unemployment, and vice versa. But right now we're getting more inflation and more unemployment, which is very weird and kind of unusual. So it's a weird place for the Fed to be in. But that is kind of how the ebbs and flows have come. We had the higher inflation, the hot inflation report, the pushing back of the rate cuts by the Fed causes this a big initial pullback. And then, like I said recently, that jobs report being optimistic in the sense of the stock market because of the Fed's moves based on that, which has kind of given us this recent rally. So we'll see where we go from here. But once again, very mixed bag right now. Honestly, I have no idea. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, no. Once again, we're closing in on 10K. We peaked really close at one point, but once again, with the deposits I can bring in coming very soon, should be able to bump these up, hopefully well past 10K. So we'll be there soon, and hopefully we can also get there through gains too. But yeah, no. So that's interesting. Dipped all the way down to 8,500, and now we're at 9,700, $1,200 difference. But yeah, no. So I guess that's all we got to cover really in this video. We did get paid a dividend by SPY. I guess that's a good thing to note here. And you can actually go in and we can see the sell and the buy. Let's see. Let's go take a look at that actually. When I converted to SPLG, which I want to say was, so look at all these buys. That's pretty impressive. Limit sell, not really sure what's going on here. I'm trying to find the one. Oh, there it is. So April 24th, we sold it all and converted to SPLG. Then May 1st, I realized the error of my ways and I converted it back. But we did get a $30 dividend, which is pretty nice. Yeah, and also what's funny, now that I'm looking at it, is we basically, I guess we bought more shares. We bought it at a lower price, but with this pretty much the same exact amount of money, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, $30 from dividends, that's pretty nice. But yeah, I think that's everything we really got to cover in this video. Stick around for the next video to see sort of where the market goes and what changes with my portfolio. But nothing should change, should just be a continued deposit, but hopefully we can bump ourselves up past that 10K mark very, very soon. I'm optimistic and pretty hopeful for it. But yeah, no, thank you for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. I post, at this point it's more bi-weekly, but I really would like to post weekly portfolio updates, and hopefully at some point when I do have more time, once school sort of ends, get into summer, hopefully I'll be able to post some more tutorial based videos or videos on other stuff that's not just the portfolio, because there is not much to really talk about with a fully SPY portfolio. But yeah, no, so subscribe for some more weekly portfolio updates and future videos to come. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.